The most interesting thing about a group like BrockHampton is that they'll never ever have to pay for a feature. What's the point of paying for a feature when you got like 20 members in your group? You got a guy that can do this, 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 and this. They need literally no one in the industry. Not even Kendrick could have something significant to add to their group. They do it all. They do it all. I got a lot of music that I want to listen to tonight. So there's like a 99.87 billion% chance I'm getting 0 sleep tonight. So let's just hope this headache isn't a brain aneurysm. Drink more water. Saturation was a project that was released by the collective known as BrockHampton in June earlier this year. They're dropping a trilogy, Saturation 1, 2, and 3, and this is the second installment of the series. I'm hype. I know you're hype, so let's jump right into it. I've heard like 2 songs on here. The first one, of course, is GUMMY. Yes, I've heard GUMMY, alright? Don't make me repeat myself. Yes, I've heard GUMMY, alright? Don't make me repeat myself. We're gonna play a little bit of it because how can you not?
Finish, better 100, they panic. My shooters only speak.
That nigga Kevin can't rap. He just said be with it. We're gonna go to track number 2. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Based on my audience, I don't believe I'm qualified to say this next word. So, yeah, we're going on to track number 2.
Walk to work, 8 hours, take the bus back. Ain't no time to stop.
Oh.
Pretty girls, they come running to our faces.
Okay. Alright. Oh. Or what? Where did this come from? I'm on the second track.
Big crib, my lifestyle still the same, just a facelift. Pretty women always pulling in my waistband.
Okay.
Used to get arrested.
I like this verse from him. You know, I'm always hazy on the amount of members in the group, so somebody leave it in the comment section below how many of them there actually are. But for him at the very end, the one with the deeper voice, he tends to rap about, you know, the street life a lot. And I guess not to say that that's one of my conflicts with his performance on a lot of this thing or even on the last project, but I did want him to discuss more, and on this track he kind of went into a different lane, a different little bit of subject matter for me, so I like that track. I like that during the hook of at least the first part of the song, I guess you can consider it a hook, there's all this heavy bass and drum. It just completely changes the tone of the track, and then the tone of the track changes again, I guess possibly to describe, you know, I may be this, but I'm also this. Like, I guess if people kind of try to label someone, they classify them as just that when they are so many other things. Track number 3, Jello. God, my left nut hurts. I can tell my life is. See what I...
Better keep it on the side. Need no music when my niggas arrive. We getting nice. Black man with some I got. Just bring the shot it. Bring it with the blonde hair. Me out, but I belong here.
Did he just rhyme long hair, belong hair? Let me out.
Look at this! Look
at this! The change in this beat? This isn't right. This whole track is unfair. I don't know what to say about that track other than technically speaking it does seem very simple, but this is that versatility in the beat that I'm always talking about that is really necessary if you want to make a song interesting for the entire duration. Not only that, but I think these are the regular members just with voice effects. The amount of people on this thing that switched their flows and adapted and readjusted to the beat despite how fast some of them were rapping at some points is incredible. Track number 4. We got teeth.
Remember, my mama tried to help me, but I hardly ever listened, so she sent me to them. I'm a project baby, a free lunch felon, and I'm hungry every minute. And listen to me, I said 5 to the building. Need to listen to the children and the weapons they can.
Yes!
Ain't no luck or surprises. I am tanning on an island. I can feel the.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite.
On that Sunday, if you're shooting for the star.
And I don't know what to say because it's the shortest one on here, but that's probably going to be my most played. I love his aggressive behavior on this track. I love how angry and determined and driven he is. His delivery on this thing and his energy is crazy. It makes you feel like there's a guy walking up to you and literally screaming in your face, this is his plan for life. And if you don't believe him, he's gonna sock you in the neck. Track number 5, Swamp. I've heard this one before. Fucking colors up from the outside, from the outside.
Me and my niggas like drug dogs. Find a dope, then we take off.
Outside, from the outside. You know, it wasn't my favorite track when I was listening to it, but I did grow to like it again for the quality that it maintains. It's a quality project so far. It's a quality song, and even though it's not my favorite, that doesn't stop it from being good. Track number 6, Scene. I'm guessing this is Roberto again. Alright, so again, Roberto is a theme throughout these saturation installments here. From what BrockHampton is saying, there are 3 installments, and Roberto is kind of like a thing, or to pay attention to Roberto. And there's a theme throughout this that tells, you know, an entire, I guess, story. I don't know for sure, but basically I've just been told to pay attention to Roberto. So after this, and I'm done with all this, I'm gonna go listen to Saturation 1, 2, patiently wait for 3, and try to put something together. Track number 7, Tokyo. I'm already sweet.
She hit me with the water. See how my feelings change. Will I be okay? I don't know. But what I do know is
your voice is set. Okay, I'm bowing down.
I got cracks in my phone screen. The past fuck with my sight.
He's coming in so good.
Please say it in my eye view. New house off iTunes. New money, my perfume. Big smile. I don't debate. I educate. Illuminate. We can't duplicate. No more moving the place. Second chance feeling.
He just said, I don't debate. I educate. Illuminate. Just to let you know, my heart stopped beating on track number 4, so that's just the situation we're in right now. Track number 8, Jesus.
The automatic had an answer when I was jamming out Beyonce like Sanford. Till Atlanta, I'm lying out.
It's still done well. There's nothing I can say. Serenade me. Hey, again, this track I'm not necessarily a fan of, okay? I like the hip-hop rap aspect of the album without the singing, but I cannot deny that the singing is still executed really well. And it's incorporated in such a way that it's not trying so hard to be a part of the song, it just naturally flows into the vocals. Track number 9, Chick. I'm ready. You are not about to catch me off guard. Okay, you might catch me.
I'm in the backyard hiding out like I'm Bigfoot.
I love this guy. I love him. He is the greatest.
Barack Hussein, same nigga, 2 names. I am on the
finally use his real name.
I drop another verse and you gon' have to pay me. Niggas on the pavement of a gang affiliation.
Good God! Dude, this is what Vince Staples needs to sound like. I'm sorry, that came out of nowhere, but he reminds me of him on this track, maybe because the beat in the background is so grimy. It's a little bit darker, but he's got this energy, like you can feel him. What is this? Oh my God, am I getting bit? I like how he addresses the fact that he does give, you know, verses that are kind of interchangeable. It's all right here. It's all right here.
I'm afraid to appall, I'm just afraid of excitement.
Be like you when I grow, money in the back, keep the sand in the back, all my niggas in the back, all my niggas in the back.
This is the one. Man, I'ma go ahead and give my rating for this thing right now. Don't play yourself and act like this isn't hard, okay? The whole thing, not a single song on here that I can't see a good quality in. Not a single one. And we about 10 tracks in. Track number 10, Junky. I think I've heard Junky too. I listened to a little bit of it. It might have been Sweet, okay? Sweet might have been the one I heard. Maybe I heard Junky too, I'm not sure.
My best interest, he gave me
yes, I heard this. And I loved it too.
The only year that I remember.
And it was funny because Kevin Abstract was in the mirror twerking. Scene number 2 for track number 11, let's go. Translate this, please. Track number 12, Fight. This is probably going to be a mosh put song. I'm already scared. You're not. I'm still trying to survive out here.
And when I grew up, I learned what racism was. And with teaching it done,
my dad,
like
not
my
me.
teachers would say, like hanging from trees or dead in the street, like I seen on TV. All them boys, not like Brandon or Chandler, but Malik and Kareem. I was born with a target, and it stuck to my skin.
And my spirit is like a knife in the wall.
This is what I need. Yes, this is what we needed.
Who's gonna be the reason why I get high? Who's gonna be the reason why I turn over?
What he talks about as far as his history is concerned is like beautifully portrayed. And then I believe Kevin comes in and starts talking about what he is, or maybe what people should view themselves as, especially if you're young and you're black. Maybe the track is called Fight because You're supposed to fight against all these things that are oppressing you. Not sure, but it definitely delivers that vibe. Again, not my favorite track, but I can't say it wasn't done well, but probably not my favorite track, but I like the message behind it. Track number 13, Sweet. This is the one that I was trying to say Tappy most likely ruined for me. He posted the video. I mean, you don't just post videos and expect people not to watch them, so what was I supposed to do? Just ignore it? No, of course I'm gonna look at it. Fuck out of here. But I didn't hear the entire song, but I get the gist of it for the most part.
My skin and my bones. I love huskies, but I feel like a wolf. In the pack, but I feel all alone. I'm scared of
Ice on my clothes and my wrists. Getting them up until he master with no limit to making them say.
This guy coming up is literally one of the best parts of the song.
My teachers told me, you better get them grades up if you want to finish high school. And after high school, you better get a degree, cause it's
You better switch this up! You better kill him! That track was beautiful. Mainly because of that part of the song for me. And I love, again, this transformative beat that they tend to incorporate into everything. They keep everything interesting by making sure the beats on this thing are not boring in the slightest. They're not repetitive, they don't get stale, they don't get boring, and they adapt to the beat change as well. That's so beautiful. Every member has that quality about them. Track number 14, GAMBA.
You took that energy and trust in me. I get so exhausted when you fuss with me.
What you gonna do when you grow?
Would not choose you if I had to start over to
So there are elements of this track that I really do enjoy, while there are more elements that I kind of dislike, mainly just because of this overuse of the vocal kind of editing, I guess you can say. It just doesn't fit well for the track for me. It's just like, you know, it reminds me of Lil Yachty, and it's very cartoony. It takes kind of the sentiment out of what he's talking about because it's so cartoony. It's like hard to take it seriously or enjoy it a little bit more, in my opinion. Well, I definitely like the addition in the second part of the song where the vocals seem a little bit more natural and less corny. I just can't get over the first part, you know, and deal with all that just to get to the one part that I like. So it's probably a track that I won't revisit. Feel free to tell me why you like that track and why I'm crazy in the comment section down below, but it's just not something that's my speed. Track number 15, Sonny.
Ain't it? You don't wanna see all my bad days, ain't it?
Like me though, he like clean money, trying to stay up out the streets though.
Okay, it grew on me. It grew on me. It's a happy track, you know? I guess when we get to this part of the album, it's like, once we turn up and we do all this other stuff, let's just enjoy the day. And this is kind of their explanation or their description for what an enjoyable day is for them, or, you know, just things that have been going on good in their life probably. This is probably the sunniest part of their life. So I'm not going to knock them for having this happy vibe. I think it's great that they feel this way, if I am interpreting this song correctly. Track number 16, Summer. Stop. 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 Last album I told you about this. Forever and always will be a fan of the live instrumentation, the guitar, the drum transitions. Sounds like the guitar is set up through an amplifier. It sounds really cool, really organic, really nice and lively and natural in the background. As far as the vocalist is concerned, I'm really feeling him. He gave me a lot of what it was given on the previous album, but on this I am really interested to see who is on the keys. That was BrockHampton Saturation 2, and I gotta say I enjoyed this one more than one. So with this album I was definitely more pleased with it because it contained songs that I was more accustomed to. Songs that I prefer on an album that's kind of promoted as a hip-hop / rap project. In my opinion, their last album was pretty good, but I didn't think it fell within those categories enough for me to consider it that kind of album. Although it was good, it was great, I still didn't consider it as such because there were some flawed ideas that I found in that project, and kind of a broken concept up until the point where they discussed the theme that the foreign guy actually plays in the second and third installments of this entire series. So now that they kind of have explained, you know, you need to pay attention to that guy, most likely the skits on all these things kind of tie into one another. That's probably the most thematic this thing may get. I'm a huge fan of what they're doing with the instruments. I'm a huge fan of what they're doing with keeping these songs organic and sounding as natural as they possibly can. I love how, although it seems as though they're experimenting with flows when they're rapping at some points, how naturally they they fit into each part of the song without trying to fit in, without trying to give these braggadocious bars. Just especially the guy with the deep voice, you know, he's obviously from the street, but he doesn't portray himself in this way that makes you feel like he's gonna walk up to anybody and anyone and just throat him for no apparent reason. Like, he's a very sensible individual that gives bars from his experience. I don't know if they got any new members, but it definitely feels like people who didn't make as starlight performances on the last project definitely showed up on here, because there were some unrecognizable voices, some definite switches in cadence, some flows. One track on here I like is how edited all their voices are, but they still managed to fit perfectly on this track. I know people love to compare these guys to like Odd Future, but there's literally no way I could put Odd Future in this lane. Odd Future was nowhere near as talented as this group seems to be in the beginning. It took them years to develop the kind of acclaim that a lot of people give them nowadays. BrockHampton is receiving the same amount of attention or more and considered a better, more well-oiled, organized group than Odd Future was, and they broke up and I don't think had this kind of chemistry. The thing about them that's so unique is I don't believe there is really any infighting. I mean, the way they match on these tracks is very easy for me to believe that they just all get along so well. The track I would say I really love on this thing is probably track number 4, Teeth, that is almost a cappella, but like I said, has this extreme sense of urgency. Like, you're not gonna get away from this message. When I draw you in, you're gonna be trapped in this song until I'm done. Nobody technically seems outshined on this thing either. Everybody who's a part of it does well, in my opinion, with what they've been given. The opportunity and the time and the space that they've been given, I feel like, help the tracks even more. They don't waste any time, meaning that there's nobody that overstays their welcome. Everybody tends to get in and get out without taking too much from one another. Gummy, the second track, Jello, Teeth, Swamps, Tokyo, Chick, Junky, Fight, Sweet, and the final 2 tracks on here I really enjoy because they lead out of it very well. I didn't even realize we're at the end of summer and the last track on this thing is Summer. Another track on here that I really like, because the way I interpret it is as if the guy is telling this female he's talking to, you're unlike all these other chicks. You could have been doing the exact same thing they've been doing all summer long, but you chose not to. Wore that chassis belt just for me. There were some downsides, you know, a couple of tracks on here that I didn't necessarily like, but I do admit were good attempts. One track on here that I just could not tolerate was probably Gamba. It was just way too cartoony for me to actually feel or, you know, get the emotion behind up until we get into the latter part of the song, which, again, as I said, I don't want to sit through in order to get to that part that I like. BrockHampton, they did it again, delivered another solid project. I wouldn't say there's anything about this thing that is making me dreary or drag along. It flows together really well, and it felt like I was only standing here for about 20 minutes. That's how cohesive this project really is. So all in all, these guys did another great job. I am really excited at this point for Saturation 3. I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do next. All the tracks on here are so catchy. All of them are really colorful. I can see why they named this project Saturation, because it's so varied. You have a hard time thinking that a collective like this, who hasn't really been in the industry for that long, knows how to make songs in such a very consistent manner. Usually you expect a lot of frequent subpar songs. I gotta go ahead and give BrockHampton their props on this. They did a really good job. Still not gonna back down on my debate that a lot of people are overhyping them and not giving me good enough reasons as to why they love them. But as I said, love BrockHampton because they're delivering some of the most consistent, good music, dropping constantly. And I don't think I've heard of such good music being dropped from one collective and in such a consecutive fashion. Like, they just released Saturation 2 months ago. Now they releasing this one, and Saturation 3 is likely to be released sometime in October. I don't know what to do. BrockHampton, Saturation 2. Really enjoyed the project. I hope you guys did enjoy it as well. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. Let me know what tracks on here were your favorite, how you felt about the project as a whole. And yeah, it's been Shawn Cee, and I'm out. About to go listen to a couple of other disappointments, most likely. Nothing's gonna top this, I already know. I probably should have listened to this one last.